I want you to think about three powerful words, and I apply this to my life every single day. That's who, not you.
Welcome to the Icon Coaching Mastermind session with Sean Kokoska.
Hello, welcome everybody. How we doing today? Gary, good to see you, man. How you been?
Been good, Sean. It's been a very, very busy year. We did major renovations on two houses and a move and building the team. So lots going on.
Right on, bud. Well, welcome. I'm so glad to see you. Let's have some fun together today. So somebody tell me something good that's happened over the course of the last week. Tell me something good. Give me some energy, guys. Come on.
Looks like you might have to pick.
Say it again, Gary.
Looks like you might have to pick on one of us.
Right. I don't want to voluntold. Guys, I want to volunteer. Somebody who's going to step up and just tell me something good. Did you get a buyer under contract? Did you sign a buyer agency contract? Did you get a referral? Talk to me.
Training a new agent.
Okay, tell me more. And what's your name?
Susan.
Susan. Right on, Susan. So tell me again.
A brand new listing. And it was a referral, personal referral through my sphere, and able to include and bring in a brand new agent and training her through the process.
I love it. Fantastic. So it's, at the end of the day, you guys, if you want to lift that ceiling of your current achievement, you must apply leverage. So I want you to think about three powerful words, and I apply this to my life every single day, you guys. That's who, not you. Who, not you. Who can do that with you? Who can do that for you? That's how we create time abundance. That's how we create a life that's worth living. See, without leverage, we live a life of default rather than a life by design. You guys with me on this? All right. So as we look to apply leverage, there's four categories. It's models, systems, technology, and then finally, it's about people. So model, systems, technology, and people. I want to talk today about the people aspect of you applying leverage. How many of you guys have at least one person that works with you? Anyone? Fantastic. All right. So Gary, I'm going to pick on you a little bit today. We got a small group and you're an easy target because we've had the pleasure of coaching together one-on-one. So tell me about your team. How did you start? When was it that you knew that it was time to apply leverage to your business? Talk to me.
So, as you know, we coached together and I came from organizing and helping run a large team. And when I decided to step back into our own role, there was a lot that was learned from that. So systems and processes and devotion to growth has always been something that, is a big part of what we do. And has been even going back on my own. So for me, going back on my own, we made sure that we invested time in doing everything we could to create a really good brand and, getting the right people around us to help us with that. Because as anybody knows, it's done marketing. It's a big beast to take on and where I believe you should leverage other people and not yourself. So that was one of the things. And then the component of, and you taught me this, Sean, is having an org chart and who's doing what and what by when. So a lot of that happened. We set a lot of goals and timelines around, what we were going to do to start up. I think, some of the big things and how I've been leveraging people too is the systems that we're taking on. We do use a system called Go High Level. Some of you may or may not know it. And it's sort of a funnel type automation system. So it's similar to CRM Grow in a lot of ways, Sean.
Yeah.
But it allows us to really, really customize what we want to do with it and, go outside of the box when you have multiple prongs. Because for me, it's not strictly doing production anymore. It's also doing coaching that we're building out now. So that's going to allow us to really, really diversify and have the right people help us with that. So VA is helping us be able to craft some of the things that, frankly, I just shouldn't invest time in. I'm better off shaking hands and kissing babies, right? Sign here. So that's a lot of what we've been doing. And I think more recently, when you talk about people and leverage, I spent this weekend going through creating as many offer and listing templates as I could so that we could automate the process of doing paperwork and taking out the challenges of mistakes and stress. We're always time pressured in this industry. And This allows us now to really plug and play our, I built 15 templates on the offer side, and so far only 2 on the listing side, mostly because that's where we practice, is in freehold and condos. So, but what it allows me to do is to be very non-critical eyed on everything now, because if the agents just plug in what we're doing, I just have to have a quick overview and away we go. So that's some of how we're leveraging people. Is the team now has got a homework challenge. I did everything for them to be able to go into our board and create all their forms so that everything's in SkySlope, and it's also in our Toronto Real Estate Board web forms side of things. So those are things we're working on. One more thing, long-winded, I've had the real good fortune of picking up a business plan, a digital business plan a number of years ago that's really quick, plug and play. As we all know, if you've been in the Keller Williams fray, that's where I learned how to really take doing business plans seriously. But they were really long in the tooth. It's a long process to get through it when you were doing the classes. So what we've got now is really a quick plug and play. You can figure out your numbers in all of about 5 minutes and then put your budget side to it in other templates. That obviously takes time, but I've been teaching it to different people, and it seems that a couple different big organizations have seen that we're doing this and are very curious, and they actually like it. So we're now doing an edited format to allow some of the people, some of the bigger attractors here at EX, to use it as a part of getting their agents dialed into particularly startups.
Gary, so much to unpack there, bud. Thank you for adding so much value today. How would somebody find access to what you're talking about in terms of business planning?
So what I'll do is I'll put up in the chat my email, and I'll for you too, Sean, I can send it out to you. You can be eyes on it, and we're going to do a stripped down version for this one group that really doesn't want all the stuff that comes with it. They only want to really have people figure out their numbers. So it'd be a 1-pager. So I'll send that out. Have a look. For anybody that's practicing real estate, whether you're new or you're 100 years in the business, I think it's really important to know your numbers. We live by a credo here, and I'll wrap on this. So I'll put my email up in the chat, but we all hear about the agent that's making 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, but do they know what it cost them to make that? Has always been our attitude. I'm a high D person, and I'm not so much about the numbers, but I am when it comes to my business, because you can't stay in business if you don't know how much you need to make, right, to sustain and grow. And that's what's really good about this template. It allows you to really customize your expense side and create predictability so that you know whether or not, before you even get into next year, if you're going to sink or swim.
I love it, Gary. And if we fail to plan, we plan to fail. No doubt about that. So having a rock solid business plan, again, it's not about what you make, it's about what you keep at the end of the day. I think you'd all agree with that, right? So again, so much to unpack there, Gary. Let's talk a little bit about branding. And what are you doing on purpose to build that omnipresent local brand? So when people think real estate, they think Gary. Talk to me.
Yeah, good question. And I've had the fortune of, I've been practicing real estate for 12 years now. And when I got into it, I was coming through financial hardship. So I couldn't just write checks to promote myself. So we were very creative long before YouTube and Facebook and lives and reels and stories, you name it. All this stuff that we've got as a convenience now wasn't really there. And frankly, the industry wasn't supportive of it. I got really shunned for going down that road. Everybody said it's a fad and it'll never last. And here we are 10 years later, and you're a loser if you're not doing it, right? In the eyes of the industry. So, for me, we got really good, really quick at creating brand identity. So doing events in our community. I ran a large car show on weekends during the summer months because we are in a colder climate. And then we were doing pie giveaways and different things. And we leveraged social media to death doing that. And it worked really well. It kept our costs down. As we all know, we have to invest time in anything we do. So, you've got an investment of time. But beyond that, the cost was minimal. And then I started to leverage other people and businesses to pick up some of the hard costs of things like pies. We typically, on our Thanksgiving, we typically give away 200 pies, and I wasn't picking up that bill. I had a market in our community that loved what we were doing, and they'd pick up the cost of that because we were picking up other sundry costs and also donating to the local food pantry. So it was a win-win for everybody. Allowed me to leverage their business and them leverage ours because they got a lot of eyeballs on them through all of our audience. And the other thing that I've done too is I've got a lot of Facebook groups that are community driven. So I've got a group called Connecting in Pefferlaw, which is a community, not far from where I live. And it grows leaps and bounds on its own. I get 3 to 10 people a day joining it. I really do nothing more than have my marketing on it and rules, right? It's about posting things going on in the community. And I've got a picture of a house that has our sold sign in the front lawn and just self-promote. That's the only way we self-promote. And then I also have a couple of other groups that are Facebook that are rental and landlord type groups. So because we all know there's typically, we have a housing crisis North America wide, particularly in rentals. There's a lot of, in Ontario, I can't speak to a lot of the states, but in Ontario, there's definitely a housing crisis here, whether you're an owner or you're a tenant or landlord. So what I've done is I created these 2 particular groups that are one's called Keswick Rentals to Real Estate, the other one's called Newmarket Rentals to Real Estate. And between the 2 groups, there's roughly about 7,000 people in there, which are both landlords and tenants. So every now and then what I do is I go in on the MLS and I post all the most recent rentals that are on our MLS system. And I don't do anything more than that. I'm not frankly really interested in doing leases. We do them, sometimes, but not often.
Yeah.
Just because they become, in Ontario, we have rent control, and it can be very libelous right now doing rentals for either tenants or landlords. You often get roped into a year down the road when things aren't going so well that they're calling you now for legal support because they can't figure out what to do to either get rid of the tenant or deal with a bad landlord. So anyhow, we know the rental side of the law quite well. And I do go in there and commentate every now and then on certain things. And otherwise, we just sit on the fence. But what's good about it, in terms of what it did in the community, we're well known. And we do get usually 2 to 3 buyer deals a year from just basically running that group. So, to put that into a perspective, in our community, average sales, even though they're moving down, we're in about $900,000 range per deal, even on investment properties. So, you do 2-3 deals a year, 3 million in productions, not bad for basically having a group with your banner on it.
Yeah, not bad at all. In fact, if you guys are interested in Facebook groups, which by the way are free, I would encourage you to check out socialorchard.com. So socialorchard.com. They're going to give you all the content to post to your group, and then your job is simply to reply to all the comments and of course invite people to join your group. Yet they give you all the content. You don't have to be the creator of all content, gang. You can schedule, in fact, they're even to schedule your posts out for you 30 days in advance. And the whole point is to get engagement. So don't be that realtor who just posts pictures of houses that people don't want to buy. You want to engage them. And that's the point of a Facebook group, in my opinion. Now we're talking about brand building. I want to share my screen. I want to show you something. Here we go. All right, you should see it now. I've shared this with many of you in the past. Yet here's a realtor holding a sign out on 6th Avenue in the most expensive part of Denver, Colorado. My price per square foot, this is 10 times what the average area would be, okay? Average sales price, probably, I don't know, 2.5 million average sales price. Yet they go clear up to, $50, $75 million in this particular area of Denver, Colorado. Now, I'm going to let some people in from the waiting room. There we go. Here he is in a suit and tie, standing on 6th Avenue. This is the main thoroughfare that goes through this really expensive part of Denver. This is all the old money. Now, holding a sign saying, we'll sell real estate for food. Now, how do you think the real estate community, the realtors in Denver reacted to this? What do you guys think? Come on, talk to me.
They would hate it.
Tell me why, Gary.
Because he's doing something they're all too afraid to do, right? He's being vulnerable, frankly, and having fun with his license, frankly. He's using a out of the box way to leverage the hell out of his time.
That's exactly right. Yet, if you go deeper into the article, what you recognize, and by the way, he got the front page of the Cherry Creek logo. You cannot buy that. See this part of Denver, and I sold real estate in Denver growing up, and you can't buy the front page of this newspaper. You just can't. And if you did buy it, it would cost you millions of dollars. Yet he got the front page because he's doing something unique and something special, something different. You go deeper into the article, and what you recognize is that 10% of the commission this guy earns, it goes to the Denver Food Bank. So in essence, he does sell real estate for food. And yet he did something unique, something special. He became recognized because of his niche. And I trust this makes sense to you guys. What can you do to dominate your market? What can you do that's unique, different, special? All right, other things, Gary, that I want to unpack with you. You talked about the organizational chart. Now, what I've learned is that, a lot of agents, and I fell victim to this myself, you guys, is that I found traction. I learned how to start generating leads, an abundance of leads, and then I just started hiring people because I couldn't handle all the lead flow. And what I ended up with was a really wide and very shallow organizational structure where, I had 20 people on my team and every one of them looked to me for leadership and management advice. I gave up my life in the process. I was working 75, 80 hours a week. Didn't take a day off for, almost a year because I didn't apply leverage in the appropriate way. So, Gary, let's talk a little bit about organizational chart, hierarchy org chart. What does that look like for you, and what should it look like for these guys?
Yeah, I mean, again, a great question, and it's something you have to really self-analyze where you're at and where you're looking to go, so that you have a very short-sighted vision, and then your long version, so you're growing towards that or aspiring to grow towards that. But I think in the immediacy, for me, we're a team of 5 people. We do it really tight. And what I did in this case actually is, even though I am technically the team leader, I made my wife the team leader, and I'm director of operations. So she basically makes sure that she's dialing for dollars and doing all of that stuff, kissing hands or shaking hands, kissing babies. And then I'm behind now organizing everything. So I'm temporarily doing like what Sean's saying. I'm in it deep in the weeds every day, but I have a plan to step out of that so that we basically have a very, very systemized business that then we can just hire somebody to replace me. So part of the org chart is to make sure that I fire myself as quickly as possible out of that role and into, frankly, for me, I'm not looking to go back to production. That's why I have my wife doing that. She's happy in that role, and my team. So for me, I'm going to step more into the coaching and consulting side of things, and that is what's going to allow me to do that, right? And then we can hire people that can cross-complement the 2 brands, because they're going to be so interwound, for lack of better words, because one is strictly going to be focused on business coaching and real estate coaching type of development, that anybody that administrates should be able to cross over pretty easily. And it gives me them, especially in the beginning, because you're going to run into, walls. We always have, especially when I ran a team prior a few years ago, and you have employees that the worry is, firstly, how do you keep them busy? So this allows, with a diversity of tasks, that they can stay pretty busy. And if I have multiple income streams, I don't have to necessarily worry as much about how we're going to pay them on a weekly basis, because I think the big reality for any of us that has physical bodies, no offense, but they're a liability, especially for us in this industry, that when you're in production, as we know, that, Sean, we wake up unemployed every day. So our job is to find people to buy and sell with us. And that can be scary, right? Because you need a lot of reserves to make it through the lean times. And so that's everything we're doing, and why the org chart is important, because it keeps me, I think the easiest way to say it is, it keeps me between the lanes, off the guardrails, so then I'm not looking all over the place, because I am one of those people that I can definitely get distracted by too many things. And then you've got problems on your hands because you become reactive. And the org chart is something that we're starting to take quite seriously. And I really didn't focus on that until I was coaching with you, and realized that we need to have strategy around that and who.
I love it, Gary. Way to go. So again, there's a military term I want you to understand. That's span of control. See, span of control means the number of people that you can effectively manage that can effectively report to you. Now, I read Steve Jobs' book, and he said he had 99 direct reports. I just thought to myself, that's bullshit. And you cannot manage 99 people. You just can't do it. In fact, the military will tell you it's 3 to 5 people. That's it. And the challenge is that, and I'll tell a quick story about Kelly. I coach her up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, okay? Now, I met her in 2016. At the end of the beginning of 2017, I was doing a mastermind there for all the top producers in the DFW area. And this title company did a great job. They got, 65 top producers, meaning they had to be closing at least 30 million in total sales volume. Now, Kelly was at the top of the top. She came in 15 minutes before the meeting started, and she said, Sean, I can't sit here for the next 4 hours. Just give me the cliff notes real quick. And so I got to know Kelly in this 15 minutes. I learned that in 2016, she closed out 172 million. She had 20 people on her team. That was 16 salespeople and 4 administrative support staff. I also learned that while Kelly was at the top of the top, she won every award and everybody knew who she was, that she was completely miserable with her life and her business. See, she had an 8-year-old son, and she missed all of his soccer practices and most of his games. She was working 75 to 80 hours a week because she had a very wide and very shallow organizational structure. All 20 people looked to her for leadership and management advice. I could only imagine that once she stepped across the threshold of her office, that it's like 20 umbilical cords attached to her belly button and sucked the life right out of her, you understand? So she sat down, she canceled all of her appointments. She sat down, she paid attention for 4 hours. She took great notes. Immediately after, hired me as her coach. Now, 2016, she closed out 172 million. Hadn't taken a vacation for 5 years. We restructured her organization. We got her down to 4 key direct reports. She was working about 50 hours a week. She took 3 week-long vacations in 2017. And after closing 172 the year prior, she closed out over 240 million in 2017, working smarter by applying leverage, not harder. Now, I want to step back just real quick to branding, to create this omnipresent local brand such that when they think real estate, they think you. There's 3 categories that I want you to focus on. Number 1 is differentiation. Differentiation. Like the guy holding the sign that says, we'll sell real estate for food. See, that is a point of differentiation. Second is specialization. See, mass appeal equals no appeal. I coach a guy in Houston. He focuses on military families. And as a direct result, all of his outbound marketing is for military folks, okay? So this is his area of specialty. As a direct result, he's become known as that guy. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to work with other people. I mean, I want you to think back to when the cigarette companies could actually do commercials, right? The Marlboro Man. You guys remember the Marlboro Man? Some of you aren't old enough to remember this. Yet he was this rough, tough, rough and rugged old guy, right? And he's riding a horse, and he's the Marlboro Man. And yet, because of the mass appeal, they attracted people, even women, that looked nothing like the Marlboro Man. So as we focus on this specialization, that's what's going to allow us to, like, if you took a napkin and you took an ink dauber, okay, and you dropped 1 drop of ink onto this napkin, it's going to begin to wick out. And that's how I view, branding, specialization, differentiation. And then the third is consistency, both in look, feel, and then finally frequency. So when you commit to doing something, anything, like for example, On our team, we would send out the needs of our buyers the third Thursday of every month. So it's a very simple format where it outlined, it wasn't like paragraph after paragraph that people had to read. It was just, who do you know? And that was the first question. We represent the following buyers. Who do you know that's looking to sell a house that meets the needs of one of our clients? And it was buyer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What were their needs? What was their price point? What zip code? How many bedrooms, bathrooms? How many car garage do they need? And we spread it out. So we started with the first time buyer. Then we upgraded to the move up type client. Then there was a luxury client. Then there was an investor looking for a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex, something like that. Then there's a land buyer. There's a commercial buyer. And so we covered the whole gambit. I hope this makes sense to you guys. So it's a really simple document for them to read. We did a direct mail. We also posted on social, and we sent out email campaigns advertising the needs of our buyers the third Thursday of every month. See, it's about consistency. One thing I know is that buyers call on houses, yet sellers, they call on buyers. So we'd send it out and our phone would ring. People would call in and say, hey, buyer number 4 on your list, I'm thinking about selling my house. They might be a good fit. So advertise the needs of your buyers. You're going to generate more and more listing leads. So again, it's differentiation, specialization, and then consistency. This is how we build an omnipresent local brand. Okay, goals, timelines. You brought that up. Systems. Gary, what is a system to you, bud?
The system is something that basically, well, for me, it's really simple. It's going to do everything that I either won't or can't. So I think that's the simplest way to explain it. So for us, we have a multitude of systems like Trello, and for those of you that know Trello or use it, I love it. It's a virtual filing cabinet, and it is great because all our team members have the ability to be at their desk or in the field, and everybody's on the same page digitally. And then lead generation wise, we are, a group of, I'll call them warm callers, and we use Commissions Inc. outside of, what we have with SkySlope and being EXPers. However, I've been with with Sync for years. So it's like candy you can't give up. We're just not going to give it up. We've figured out how to, use it, and that's a system. And then it's also our CRM. So that's what I love about it, because it's got a search engine capability to it, much like SkySlope. So those are systems to me, and then anything that is automated, even YouTube is a system. It just depends on how you're going to put it to work for you.
Love it, Gary. So a system to me, gang, it's a standardized process that produces consistent and predictable results. You do it the same way each and every time, and you get that consistency in your business. See, many people, they show up to their buyer presentation. They say, gee, I wonder what's going to come out of my mouth today, and I hope it's good. Or they go to the listing presentation, same thing. They see, we've all been on that listing presentation where everything that came out of your mouth was just so perfect, so sweet. And you leave that meeting feeling pretty smug. And in the back of your mind, you're wondering, can I do it again next time? See, when you systemize these presentations, then you're going to get the results that you want. No doubt about that. So again, it's a standardized process. It produces a consistent and predictable result. Now, you had mentioned Sync. So if anybody's interested in checking out Sync, I'm going to post to the chat right there. And Gary, thank you so much for posting to the chat your business plan. I'm going to grab that real quick as well. So I'll encourage you guys to download that real fast. And I'm doing the same thing. So thank you, Gary. All right. I got that. I trust all of you got that. Yet here's what I did about eight and a half months ago is I set out here in Austin, Texas. Really, I relocated here to build Keller Williams Maps Coaching. So I don't have a lot of business relationships. I don't have a lot of, friends and family here or anything like that. Yet I set out 8.5 months ago to build a profitable real estate sales team by investing just $2,200 per month and 30 minutes a week. So I engaged with Sync, just like Gary's talking about. We're generating well over 200 leads every single month, and it's profitable because of leverage. See, the first thing I did is I signed up for Sync. Second thing I did was I hired a director of sales who's over 4 categories of our business, which is recruiting, it's retention, then revenue or per agent production, and then finally reproduction, because I happen to be with EXP. So this person is the one who's building this. See, your job as a leader is to create a vision. That's number one. Number two, understand and be able to articulate the why behind the accomplishment of the vision. Number three is to create a mutually beneficial compensation model that allows them to go out and accomplish the work you want done. And the compensation model should be designed to get them to act like an owner. Again, when you do this, everything else becomes easier and a lot of things become unnecessary. 30 minutes a week, that's all I've invested. And after 6 months, it was profitable. Okay, so I'm not here to pat myself on the back. I'm here to tell you, you could do the exact same thing. See, it's about leadership. It's about the ability to cast a vision. By the way, if you want to learn more about how to do this, I want you to go to iconcoaching.com. I want you to go to the Programs tab. Check out Accelerated Breakthrough. Not only is this the most cutting edge coaching and training program, 16 weeks, 4 months of coaching and training for just $350. We also have a section that we just added. It's all about conversational artificial intelligence. Again, I've invested over $250,000 over the course of the last 8 months in this technology. Remember, there's 4 categories of leverage, right? Models, systems, technology, and then people. Now, if you want more appointments, and I know you do, you just need to create more conversations. And with this CAI technology, we can create as many conversations as you'd like for pennies on the dollar. I mean, you could hire an ISA, maybe a virtual assistant from the Philippines. This thing will cost less than that. So if you're open-minded to it and you want to check it out, I'll encourage you to just email Sean, and this is what I call my CIO, okay? Sean Policino. So it's Sean at iconcoaching.com. I'm posting to the chat right now. Sean Policino is my CIO, Chief Implementation Officer. And I'll ask you to just reach out to him via email if you're interested in applying artificial intelligence to your lead generation. Where this thing, I had a 45-minute conversation with it last week. I was asking questions that we didn't even program into it, yet it's got this knowledge base called the internet. And within milliseconds, it goes out and finds the information. And halfway through the conversation, I just asked, what's 25 times 432? Oh, great question, Sean. And it gives me the answer. It's amazing. I asked, who's the founder of EXP? I didn't program this in. Oh, wonderful question, Sean. The founder is Glenn Sanford, and it gives this whole mini bio of Glenn Sanford, all on its own, yet it's a closer. It never calls in sick. It just dials and dials and dials. You don't have to set up a 401k for it. Give it a bonus for every appointment that's set or listing contract that's signed. It'll call FSBOs, expired listings, circle prospecting. It'll call your sphere of influence, invite them to your next customer appreciation event. It will help you attract agents to join your team or join EXP if you happen to be with our wonderful organization. So good stuff, Gary. I see your hand is up. Take it away.
Yeah, so I want to circle back to that as part 2, but I just want to take a second for on Sync, seeing your link that you put up there, and, even for you as an investor in it, what's really incredibly good about that platform is their support. So there's a couple of quick things I just want to share about that for anybody that uses a system like that is you have really good onboarding. You get a success partner assigned to you that you can touch base with anytime during business hours, obviously, and can walk you through a lot of the hurdles that come with taking on new systems. It is a very unique and broad-based system that has a lot of arms and legs, but I think what I do love about it too is they really teach you the importance of scripts. They have a lot of online lead support to do all of that, live webinars. So much like what Sean invests in all of us, they do the same thing. So you do get an incredibly good ROI on investing in the system. The only really critical thing is you got to show up and do the work, just like anything. You don't show up and do the work, it will lead to failure. And that's as simple as I can make that. But the other question I have, Sean, just quickly, I did see your rollout launch a few weeks back on the AI chatbot for doing attraction. Are you guys going to look to pull that in potentially into lead conversation for buyers and sellers, or where are you going to go with that?
Undoubtedly, yes. It's not just about agent attraction. It'll do anything we program it to do. So we've already programmed it for sale by owners, expired listings. It has its lead-in scripts. You can't even tell it's a bot. You literally can't. There's a minor delay in the response time, yet it's just so minor you can't even hardly tell. And yet with that, let me ask you all the question. Let's say you get a phone call and you happen to have the time, so you answer the call. And it's an individual. And by the way, the next iteration is going to be able to sound exactly like you if you choose for it to. I gave my bot a British accent. And let's just say that you get a call and it says, "Hi, this is Sam. I'm with Sean Kokoska's office here at Icon Coaching and eXp Realty. I'm artificial intelligence, which means I'm not a live human being. Yet I wonder, do you have 2 minutes for a quick conversation?" I mean, what might you say? Are you a little curious? See, what are you thinking, Gary? I saw you unmuted yourself. Go ahead.
100%, because I'm that person that even, I was brought up to not like telemarketers, but I always, because of what I do in this industry, I now give them the opportunity to either improve by virtue of what I'm going to say to them, or listen and learn, right? And I believe just by virtue of what you said, because we all know that technology is out there. And, it's like what I said in the beginning about Facebook. Everybody said 10 years ago, what a waste, it's going to never last. Well, I'm sure people are saying the same about this, and just wait, right? It's with us to stay. So, I definitely give it an opportunity because I want to see how good it is, frankly.
That's exactly right. That's what we found, is that our call time using the AI bot has increased dramatically because people are curious. So, by the way, it says, by the way, you can ask me anything during our conversation, yet, and here's an attraction script, okay? So, see, Sean Kokoska 3.5 years ago made the decision to shift to eXp, and it's been life-altering for him and his family. Let me ask, have you actually sat down, taken the time to investigate eXp as it relates to your income, your stock portfolio, your net worth, and most importantly, your ability to retire from real estate someday soon? Because I gotta tell you, the finances, economics are life-altering here at eXp. Have you taken the time? And whether a person says yes, the person says no, it's got its own prompts. It's going to then follow through with the conversation. Or if it's calling for sale by owner, the intent and the target is to simply set an appointment. That's it. And setting an appointment with for sale by owner is one of the easiest things you'll ever do. Yet the challenge is finding the time, the energy, the motivation to actually call that for sale by owner, right? Where this thing will call every for sale by owner, anybody on the notice of default list. You take a listing, it'll call the 1,000 closest homeowners within minutes with a very simple script designed to find out, are they interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate anytime in the next 12 months? If so, it will tie right into your Calendly link, and it will set an appointment based on your availability. This technology is remarkable. Now, change is inevitable, yet growth is optional. I'll encourage you to reach out to Sean Policino via email. That's SEAN@iconcoaching.com. Guys, if you want to just jump on just a quick investigation group meeting, I think he's got another one coming up this Thursday. So just email him. He'll send you the link. Jump on, check it out, because this is going to change your industry. I promise you that. So guys, we have gone well over on time today. So thank you, Gary, sincerely, for just adding so much value today, brother. Appreciate you. All right. Till we talk again next week. And we do this every Tuesday at 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. So until then, just be on purpose, be productive, gang, be powerful. Talk to you again next week. Bye-bye.
If you would like to hear more masterminds, hit like and follow us on our social media channels. If you would like to be part of our mastermind session, click the link in the description and join us on our next Accelerated Breakthrough Plus Mastermind.